After writing 2 transformational books myself and supporting many other beings to do the same, I've become enthralled by the deep and mysterious magic that's activated when we choose to say yes to ourselves and commit to the book writing journey. Of course, we want to inspire change and new perspectives in our readers, but the transformation that happens as an author, both throughout the writing process and by actually releasing your book into the world, is surprisingly potent. I know I've been blindsided in the most disruptive and delicious ways by some of the changes my books have brought into my life. Writing a book is like casting a spell. Although we can never be completely sure what's going to be unleashed during the process, we choose to do it anyway. This Unbound one is a heroic journey. Each book has the potential to be a magical portal, a doorway to a new world, both for you and your reader. Each book has a very specific medicine that it's here to share with us. And each book gives us the opportunity to alchemize the magnificent imperfection of our experience into gold. The truth is that anyone can write a book. We could all get a few thousand words down and put them together. But what fascinates me is what happens when we allow the book writing process to go deeper. When we say, fuck it, get naked and dive way down beneath the surface. Letting go of the shoulds and any need to be acceptable, sensible, or approved of. What fascinates me is what happens when we make ourselves fully available to being transformed by the very act of writing a book. This is Unbound Writing, and this is the process we'll be exploring together here in the Unbound Writers Club. I'm Nicola, author and founder of the Unbound Press, and I help magical beings to write the transformational book they're really here to write at this time. I'm your guide here in the Unbound Writers Club, and the aim of this podcast is to help you to feel supported, encouraged, activated as you embark on your book writing journey. Whether you're a first-time author or have many books out in the world, my hope is that you will find something here to inspire you. Let's dive in. Hello, Magical One, and welcome to the Unbound Writers Club. Today, I am joined by one of our newest authors at the Unbound Press, Mariella Pearson, who is author of Libidos and Life Lessons. I mean, that's just a brilliant title in itself, isn't it? But I'm going to read you a little bit of the description on the back cover, because this book is a painfully honest and highly relatable account of a girl making her way through the world of dating. Through breakups, heartbreak, and COVID, from realizing putting out doesn't equal love to pussy gazing workshops, Mariela starts to realize that maybe she should start with herself. Looking internally for the first time, she goes on a quest to find out who she is and what she wants from a relationship with herself as well as others. This book is such a great read. I personally resonated with so much of it. I wish that younger Nicola had got to read this book before she navigated the world of dating back in the day. I'm so grateful to Mariella for reading it. And in this conversation, we get to talk about what inspired her to write this book, which is really, really personal, and, how the whole process has been. So I know you're going to love it. Let's dive in. So, Mariella, welcome to the Unbound Writers Club.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
No, it's lovely to have you here. I was just saying, we were just talking before we hit record, and I actually have yellow nails today, which I feel like they're in honour of your book, which is yellow as well.
Yeah, I love them.
So, yeah, I always start these conversations with the same question, which is, what does it mean to you to be an unbound writer?
Good question. I wish you'd sent me a list of questions.
It's the only one that
oh, God.
It's always the same.
What does it mean to be an unbound writer? I guess it's just about being sort of unedited and yeah, I think the main reason I wanted to do it this way was to have my voice clearly put across and not altered or changed in any way, or swearing taken out, or
Mhm.
and to just be as authentic as I possibly can be. Yeah, I think the worry of doing it another way is that you'd somehow get sort of muddled within someone else's voice, and yeah, I just didn't want that.
No, no. And it feels to me like this book, like it couldn't really have been written or published any other way. Like it is so important that it was like your words, and that came through in every sense of the
Sometimes too much.
never too much. Never too much. I
Yeah.
mean, what made you decide to write a memoir in the first place?
So one of my friends, I would more times than I care to think about, I'd go to her with my dating disasters and be constantly moaning and being like, oh fucking hell, this has happened now, and it was all so ridiculous. I'd speak to other people and I don't know, their dating sort of record never seemed quite as extreme or chaotic. And my friend basically was like, oh, you need to write a book. This is all such, like, you could put this in a book. And I was just kind of like, oh, yeah, whatever. Didn't really think any more of it. And then in lockdown, I was just really bored. I couldn't work. Yeah, I've really struggled not doing anything. And in the end, after I don't know how many months, I just thought, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to try and write. It's never been something that I either thought I could do or was told I could do. But I thought, if nothing else, it'd be quite nice when I'm old and grey and have no memory, just to like relive it, or well, maybe not relive it. That's maybe I don't want to relive it. But just like, I don't know, remind myself that I've lived and I've gone through
Mm.
stuff and I've got through stuff and I'm still here somehow. It's a miracle. So yeah, I just started writing, and yeah, that was where it all began.
Amazing. So you hadn't really written before? Like, did you have like a
Never.
journal practice or anything, or were you not
No,
really?
no,
Wow, that's quite amazing.
no, never. I mean, actually, that's a lie. I've just remembered. I did. I don't know why. I have got it somewhere. Oh God, I don't know if I want to read that. I've just remembered that I do have some sort of journal somewhere. I think when you're younger, you tend to write in a diary for
Yeah.
some reason. I think it became a bit of a fashion thing to do. And I do, I've just had a really vivid flashback of, I have got a journal somewhere from when my mum took me, after I got out of rehab, she took me to the Gambia for 6 weeks to try and keep me away from the mean streets of Reading. And and I think I have it somewhere. It's probably in my cupboard. And I do, yeah, I remember writing, but no one had ever read it, or
Hmm.
I never thought, yeah, I didn't think I was capable of this. This is
Wow.
ridiculous.
I just find it really hard to believe because you're such a brilliant writer, like so engaging and funny and like honest. And so it kind of blows my mind that up until the point you sat down in lockdown and thought, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, writing wasn't something that came naturally to you.
Yeah, I think the thing is, at school, I didn't really like school, and I do remember my English teacher telling me my writing was too chatty when I was trying to write essays or whatever we're told to write at school. I think it's tricky for people that aren't typically academic and who are maybe their writing style or how they work doesn't fit into the box that we're given at school. So if it doesn't fit into the box, you're not any good. So I think, yeah, it just was never picked up. It was never, yeah, I just didn't ever try.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I kind of love, I was going to say that actually, like reading your book, and when I first read like the manuscript, what I loved about it is that I can really hear your voice coming through. So the fact that your teacher said your writing was too chatty, it's like, okay, that might not be good, like, or what's expected at school in that environment, but actually it's perfect for this kind of book, because you don't want something to sound like an essay, you want it to sound like your voice, and you do like an amazing, I like, literally feels like you are confiding in a friend as you're writing, which is just, it's really hard to pull off actually, so you've done a great job of that.
Thank you. I did at times. I'm still like, I think my biggest fear has been that people will go, oh, she can't write, like, because whatever has happened in my life and the judgment on my life, it's kind of like, well, that's just my life, and you can judge away or be, I don't know, not like it, but I can't change that. But I think if someone was to turn around and be like, you're crap at writing, and what do you think you're doing? I think that would be more painful. But it won't be for everyone. Not everyone wants to read about pussy gazing workshops and sleeping with many, many undesirable men. It's not for everyone. And I guess in that sense, it's a bit like art, and not everyone is going to like what you have to offer. But it's just trying to come to terms with that and not take it personally.
Yeah, I don't know who wouldn't want to read about that, to be honest. Like, who are
My
these
dad.
people? Yeah, well, you probably wouldn't want your dad to read
Well, he does want to read it. I don't want him to read
it. He's barred from reading it.
Yeah, I have asked very kindly if he could not.
Oh my goodness. I mean, what was it like when you were in the writing process, like revisiting these different like times and experiences in your life?
I think at times it was hard, but it was really cathartic, and I was able to kind of, I don't know, like mentor myself in some
Hmm.
ways out of it. And I think in most of the sort of chapters, like I might start off sounding completely insane and very erratic, and but then by the end of it I've kind of talked myself out of it, or talked myself down, or calmed myself down. A lot of what I wrote was happening at the time of writing. Rereading it during the editing process was the most cringeworthy experience I've ever experienced in my life. It was awful, and I just at times I was like, "You're such a dick! Like, what were you getting? What were you getting so upset about? Why were you so upset about those situations?" And just like cringing at my behavior and my lack of respect for myself was quite painful. Yeah, I'm kind of like so over reading it. It's I guess it's kind of like when you overplay an album,
Hmm.
and we when we used to get CDs and stuff before Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, and by the end of it you just couldn't listen to that CD again because you just played it so many times. And yeah, it's a bit like my life. Broken record.
It's like, can we change the record now?
Yeah, can we change it now, please?
Yeah, like that you do like take us on a journey through the book, like who you are at the beginning of the book feels quite different to who you are. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and I think even like how I write at the
Mm.
beginning, I find almost a little bit cringy. I'm like, oh God, I don't know. I definitely have learned a lot but in the same, like, I try to be as authentic as I can. But when I think when that sort of threshold of publishing came about and I was still writing it, that I found quite difficult, because you're at a point now when you know people are going to read it.
Yeah.
And even recently, I found myself, I am writing again just because I find it so helpful.
Mm.
But for a while after it, knowing it was going to be published, I found it really hard to write, because my honesty didn't feel such an easy thing to find.
Yeah.
Because when you know people are going to read something, I guess you filter yourself. You quieten the crazy. So yeah, it's definitely been a big learning journey, and just something I never, I never thought I would ever do.
Yeah. I love what you say there. It's much easier to write freely when you're not thinking about other people reading it. And then, like you say, when you get to that point where it's like, actually, this is going to be a book that goes out into the world. Yeah, it's easy to kind of tone ourselves down or hold back in some way. But that definitely doesn't come through in the book that you're writing.
Maybe I have toned myself down. Maybe that is the toned down version.
Yeah. I mean, who do you feel the book is for, Mariella?
I think the book is for someone who's been in a similar, well, maybe not completely similar situation to me. I think I read a book called The Unexpected Joy of Being Single when I was single. It's by Catherine Gray, and she doesn't drink, which for me was a big selling point, because a lot of these books on single ladies or whatever, like the likes of Bridget Jones and Sex and the City, and they're all getting smashed all the time. And I just couldn't relate to it. And I found it really hard to kind of identify with, going out, and like I do still go out, but it wasn't in the same way. So I just felt, if I could make someone who maybe is single and keeps dating, many disastrous men, and has no self-respect for themselves, and just, I think also I've really learned through this journey that my body's really precious, and having sex with someone is a big deal. And I've slept with more people than the person I am now would want to. I've given my body to these men that don't really fucking deserve it, for just a moment of like validating myself. And I think a lot of us do that. A lot of men do that as well. And I think it's just for the sort of woman that maybe does do that and behaves like how I have behaved, in search of just being validated, being loved, and realizing that putting out does not equal love.
Yeah, exactly. As you're saying that, I'm just like feeling this would have been a really powerful book for me to read when I was like single and just dating and being with like the most ridiculous men. It's like, what was like Nicola in her 20s and 30s thinking? So like to have a book like this, which was so relatable, I'm just really curious to like wonder like how that would have changed things for me. So really powerful book.
I do hope that just like, if nothing else, I can make someone laugh at my misfortunes. I'm a great believer, and you've got to laugh about these things, because if you don't, you will just end up crying the whole time. And I do think it's really important. I think it's really difficult for women, because there's so many sort of shifts in our life, and we're kind of, for a long, well, even now, if you sleep with lots of men, you are a slag. If men sleep with lots of women, they're a hero, as I say in my book. So then you almost go on this sort of feminist movement, being like, I am going to sleep with lots of men. It is okay. Like, fuck them. I can do what I want. But ultimately that doesn't work for me. And I don't feel good about myself afterwards. I'm not sure how many women have sort of one night stands and find it enjoyable, because we are made differently, and that's okay. And yeah, I think it's been a real sort of challenge to work out if I want to kind of take on this masculine persona and sort of behave as a lot of men do, or to actually just be true to my body and who I am, and admit that that doesn't work for me and it doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always the intention, isn't it, behind something? And like you were saying earlier, like if the intention is to get some kind of validation, then it's never going to feel good.
No.
I know something that comes up for a lot of people who are writing about their own story and their own experiences is, how can I do that? Like when I'm writing about other people, and like, how do I do it in a way that feels okay? I mean, I'm not going to say it ever feels good, like to share our own story and so much of our own experience. But what was that like for you to go through that process?
Fucking hideous. Absolutely hideous. I'm not going to lie. And I think, I really struggled with this a lot. Certain people, not so much. But yeah, I mean, it was a real challenge for me to be honest about how I felt in situations. And I guess there are men in the book that I care deeply for, still, and still love. And it was really hard. And I am a great believer that even the people that behave badly, and even the people that didn't treat me right, I think this has been kind of maybe one of my major downsides in relationships, is I'm a massive empath. And I know that if someone hasn't treated me right, it's because they're not happy, and it's not really anything to do with me. Or, well, I'd like to think I don't know. Sometimes maybe I've acted as a dick or whatever, but a lot of the time, if someone doesn't treat you well, it's because they're in pain. So it was really hard, and my intention is never to upset or offend anyone. That isn't who I am at all, and I really hope that I haven't, because I think if you write with malice, if you write because you're pissed off, then you are going to offend people.
Yeah.
I hope the fact that I haven't written with malice, and I've had such crippling anxiety around it and not wanting to upset people, I hope that comes across. And I guess that's all I can do. And ultimately, how I've seen a situation, I'm entitled to, in the same way that everyone else is entitled to see a situation completely differently. And it is just my story. I'm not writing anyone else's story. I am writing something that is completely from me and my feelings.
Yeah, and that's really clear in the book. And actually, like, there's a lot of love in the book. Like, even when you're writing about difficult situations with other people, like, I can still feel very much that kind of love and empathy coming through. Like, I feel like that's a real strength in your writing. It never feels like you're lashing out or
yeah. And also I do think, if I had written about all these different men and how they'd done me wrong, and painted myself out to be this, angelic, white as white person, then yeah, that would have been a bit of a dick move. However, I don't think, if anyone comes off crazy in the book, it is me. and I like to think that I own my part in situations, and don't just say, this person's done wrong. And yeah, I do like to think that I have owned my part in situations as much as I can. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. What kind of feedback have you received about the book now it's kind of going out into the world? Like I saw you had like a celebration like with some friends a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago. I just wonder how people are responding to the book.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I think during the whole publishing process, I didn't sort of tell many people because I was just feeling so anxious about it. I was feeling so stressed, and I didn't want it to just be the only conversation
Mm,
I had for eternity. I think a lot of people have been, I mean, my family have been very surprised. My dad, he said to me that I'm a bit like a propaganda, that, you know, for so long I've made out that I'm stupid and that I'm not capable of things, that he's kind of, in the nicest possible way, he's kind of believed me because
mm,
I was so convincing that I wasn't capable of anything. And, you know, I think there has been a bit of sort of surprise that I've done this. But generally, people have just been really amazing and really encouraging and loving towards me. And just when I have got that sort of inner critic or that anxiety going of upsetting people, or, you know, anything like that, you know, I'm being talked down off the ledge quite a lot.
mm.
And so far, yeah, I haven't, touch wood, um, haven't had anything bad. I really hope the good weighs out the bad.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I pretty much always find that, to be honest, that the people who are attracted to the book are the people who are really going to benefit and enjoy reading it. And
Yeah,
if someone's not going to have that experience, it probably won't even be on their radar at all. So long may that
yeah,
continue.
yes, yeah, I really hope for that, because, yeah, no, it's, I think ultimately I am a massive people pleaser, and I don't like upsetting people or offending people. So, yeah, I'd really hope that I wouldn't do that,
Yeah.
which is why, yeah, certain people I do just think, do you know what, just don't read it. Like, it's not it's not for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not for everyone, but the people who it is for are just gonna like love it so much. And thanks for acknowledging that. Like, I think many of us, like, we have like people pleasing tendencies, and that can come through in our writing. So, like, for you to write such a brave and honest and just really beautiful book, like, it's really, really something. So, thank you. Like, thank you for writing it, but also thank you for like sticking with it, like actually going through the publishing process. Because I know, like, you're not the only one at that stage to like think, actually, I don't know if I want to do this. So thank
Yeah.
you for sticking with it.
Yeah, there were definitely quite a few moments where I just thought, I can't do this. And I still sometimes doubt whether I have the mental strength to go through this.
Mm,
Um, but it's out there now. So
it is.
can't take it back.
It is out there. It's doing its thing. It has a life of its own now. So,
Yeah.
that's what we have to do. Just let our books go and, do what they need to do in the world. Is there going to be another one, do you think?
You know, I am back writing, which I feel really pleased that I am. I'm not sure if I was to release another one, I'm not sure if I would do it alongside working full time.
Yeah.
Um, that balancing act was quite challenging. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Let's see if people like this one enough. But I'd never say never.
Yeah. Watch this space. Watch this
Yes.
space. For people listening, Mariella, who want to find out more about you, like connect with you, like keep in touch, what's the best way for people to do that?
Probably through my Instagram, where I post random crap on it quite a lot. Don't know what I do. It's got a mind of its own. I feel like it's almost like my book and my Instagram is almost like a bit of an alter ego. I was thinking about it earlier, and a lot of people that meet me, because I am actually really painfully shy, which doesn't come across in the book at all.
No, it doesn't.
But yeah, I'm actually quite quiet, and I've been called cold, but a lot of it is just shyness. So I think it's almost quite funny because this book and my Instagram is kind of my alter ego. But if you contact me through there, if you come up to me in the street, it might be a different situation.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'll run away. I'll run away and I think it's quite funny because I do come across quite cold. Apparently, it is just shyness, and it's not being stuck up or rude, as I've been called many a time. It is just painful shyness.
I'm sure many of us have had that experience as well, like being labelled as cold or standoffish when really we're just shy. Your Instagram account is one of my favourite accounts.
Oh,
I love it. I'm always like, oh. What's your handle on Instagram again? Just so I can find you.
Let me double check. I think
we'll put it in the show
Libidos.
notes.
Yeah, I think it's libidos and life lessons. Let me just double check. Yeah, I think my main thing that I've really got into is just that is correct, is just adding funny things to my stories that I find just to get us all through the day. We all need a funny meme or something to get us through.
Definitely. Well, we'll put the details in the show notes as well, and obviously everyone wants to get their copy of Libidos and Life Lessons. And
thank you.
Great read. Thank you so much, Mariella. It's been great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
What do you do when you want to write a book, but the usual approaches are leaving you feeling restricted, pressurized, not at all enough, and pretty dry, to be honest? You find another way, of course. And if you are listening to this, my free unconventional book writing guide is going to be perfect for you. It's designed especially for soul-led coaches, healers, and mentors who want to write a transformational book without spending hours on end chained to a desk. In it, I'm giving you my unique spin on the top 10 questions I hear from would-be authors, and it's going to help you liberate the way you write forever. Download your free copy of the guide now over at nicolahumber.com/10, the number 10, 10 hyphen questions.